Hello, everybody, and you're all very welcome to the show. I hope you enjoy what happens here over the next hour or so. To get the ball rolling, let me hand you over to our MC for the evening, the beautiful Fred Cook.
Thank you, Tommy. Well, our first guest is Mr. David Gray.
Tommy, nice to meet you.
Hello.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good, thanks.
Yeah. Are you on the road much and stuff these days still?
It's all about to start, so
All
yeah,
right.
it's a busy year ahead of me now.
By choice?
Yeah, by choice. I think I still got the voice, I've still got the energy. I'm going to go for it. I think the world needs as much positive energy as it can get its hands on.
Yeah.
So, yeah, like music's like a sort of giant battery that's taken on a lot of positive charge, and lots of earthing energy in there as well. So I want to just give as much as I can to as many people as I can.
You're either a megalomaniac or naturally loving.
Yeah, I think I'm very driven, just determined, and I feel very privileged. So it's a sort of terrible man for responsibility, but I feel like having been given so much, I need to give as much as I can. I don't think it's megalomania, but that's probably in there somewhere. It's got to be in the mix.
I just meant that desire to connect and have an effect.
Oh, it's amazing. I find it very freeing on stage. It's like I'm not that person when I'm off stage. And a very young time in my life, I had to step in as the wizard in a school play. The actual wizard, the official wizard, was ill, and with 1 day's notice, I had to learn all the lines. I was the only boy who could learn all the lines in a day, but they didn't have time to go through the song and dance routines with me. So this was in Solva, in the little Welsh village where I went, and so I just had to go for it, and the lights went down, and there was the audience in the school hall, and I just made up my little wizard dances, and the audience loved me. I mean, like, absolutely loved me, and like there was this love came back.
Yeah.
And a penny dropped, and I just kind of got it. This is like a safe space where I can do make-believe, and you're part of it, and then you love it because something just worked. So I've always had this relationship to going on stage as well, which has a positive, really positive side from my personality, which I think I charge myself by being away from people. That's how I get my energy. But then I have this other bit where I go out and give it.
What were you like as a young fella, like as a schoolboy?
Well, I mean, which phase of my life were you in?
Well, maybe when you were like around 7 or something.
Yeah, I was blonde, sort of Mancunian at that point, United fan. I was quite shy, really. Like, loved painting, loved birds, loved nature. Was really obsessed with all that stuff. Loved sport, played loads of sport. So but I wasn't like a big sort of outgoing sort of personality type thing. So that's what I was like at that stage.
Isn't it amazing that someone with your internal makeup, with all that to give, was a kind of a slightly shy boy? Yeah,
I'm quite self-contained, so I definitely was a bit shy. Just nervous of the world, I guess, to some extent. Once I've kind of got in there and I've worked out it's okay, I'm fine, I think this all just goes back to really, partly just who I am, like genetically, the kind of person I was born as. But I had a very traumatic early experience. When I was first born, it's called pyloric stenosis. The top of my stomach seized up after a couple of weeks. And I was basically starving to death and wrongly diagnosed. So the first few weeks of my life, I was starving. And then I was sort of projectile vomiting. And then they rushed me to hospital. And I had this massive operation. And they cut a great big hole in me, sorted me out. And and then I guess what have been the next sort of 3 or 4 weeks, I'd have been in great discomfort and also not being comforted. Anyway, I'm getting kind of therapy about it, but this is, I think, pretty formative stuff. So I sort of think I'm still howling. I'm still making my own world within the world as a kind of place where I feel it's okay to be. So the world at large, I don't quite trust it, I guess. So I'm always kind of looking. So I've married a long time. I like people to have my back and kind of that kind of thing. Those are the kind of choices I've made, I think, informed by my very, very early impressions of what being on planet Earth was like. And it seems to make sense. I'm still wailing for attention at the age of 56, if you like.
Yeah.
As I was back then.
And you could kind of say almost the way you move on stage as well. It's like, somebody feed me, Jesus.
It could be. I hadn't thought about that.
I'm looking back on what's happened so far in terms of success and album sales and all that. Are you... I mean, becoming very successful is a phenomenal experience. You know, it's bewildering and
Yeah.
But then maybe, you know, 2 or 3 albums later when when the numbers have changed completely and
Yeah.
Because that's what it is. It's just numbers, really, because you're still doing the work.
You get caught up. Most of the time with anything, you're just paddling and occasionally you catch a wave. And that's what it was like, but that was some wave. And I think the thing about White Ladder when it took over was the beautiful story that it was as well, that it came from nowhere, that we put it out ourselves. No one gave us permission to do anything. The Irish public allowed this amazing thing to bloom and blossom and then go around the world, essentially. It was a fairy tale, and people loved the story as much as they liked the music.
But a couple of things. So were you wise with the money?
Yeah, I'm quite prudent.
You're tight.
I wouldn't say tight. I wouldn't say tight. Others might say it differently. No, I just, again, same thing. Well, anyway, I was never going to be that kind of mad materialistic. I'm going to buy a sports car. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do the house in the south of France. I'm going to like everything immediately now. But I just know that you can't spend it all now. You maybe just put some to one side. And it was, I don't know, just negotiating with money. I don't know what is money anyway. It's a bizarre substance that sort of dominates everything, every conversation and the way you feel, the way about your life.
No, but I think I'm asking because when the numbers changed and you had the memory of being incredible.
Well, yeah, I think
did you have something solid to say, okay, though I mightn't be as popular as I was, but I have this to show for it? Apart from where people hold you in their minds.
Well, I think that was more it's the loss of that sort of attention that you gloried in momentarily, this incredible feeling you could do nothing wrong almost.
Yeah.
And like that golden moment, like can't last long enough, but it ends and then suddenly everything's just back to what is this now? A weird version of what it was like, but you now the successful side rather than the failure side of this crazy event. That was hard to deal with. I didn't spend all the money, so I was okay in that way. Anyway, it takes a long time to come in. Oh, yeah. It doesn't just turn up. It's like, where is the money, by the way? I remember saying that in about November 2000, like we've been like number one. It's like, what? That all takes a little while to come through. And then you've got to, I don't think, just don't give money too much power, but you don't want to be stupid with it either. So, yeah.
I think one of the things that failure does to you, and I'm not using that, that's probably the wrong word, but is it can buy you freedom.
Lack of success, you mean?
Yeah, it can buy you freedom.
Well, you don't see it at the time, but it's so true.
So you have that, if every album is building on the last and you're more successful, your options kind of narrow because the pressure to be that all the time increases. But if people kind of not half forget about you, but kind of go, do whatever you want, that means you can do whatever you want.
Yeah, that's true.
You know,
I hadn't really thought of it in those terms. I see it more as my own evolution. I'm a terrible man for taking on the responsibility, the obligation that success seemed to bring to my business associates, to my band, to all the people that were relying on me, then my family, and then you become like by obligation. I'm a dad today, you know, I'm a husband, I'm paying the mortgage, and now I'm going to go and do a tour. That's the right. But I had lost sort of sight of myself in there entirely. And
You haven't?
I had.
Okay.
At a certain point, just like a tour too far. There was a point in the music business when record sales stopped and the world hadn't made itself into something else yet. It was just a free-for-all. The only way to keep everything going was to get out on the road. And I think success had dried up in the UK and Ireland. It was reduced down. The magic seemed to have moved. And I had some success in America, so I just toured and toured and toured and toured over there. And that place will eat you alive. I mean, it's a giant act of turning up. Success in America. So I think on Draw the Line and Foundling, I think I did 7 tours. And that almost broke my relationship, I think, with young children. And it broke me. I was like, well, I didn't really understand. And that's when I started to question it and kind of make a bit of time for me in amongst all the responsibilities. Anyway, I'm a terrible man for responsibilities. Like, if you make me responsible for something, I'm going to get stressed now if it doesn't go right.
Yeah.
So I think with success, it was there was a narrowing, not because there wasn't a record company guy going, hey, yeah, let's give me another of those. We can sell shitloads of them. It wasn't like that. No one was saying those things overtly, but the sort of pressure was that, well, now I know how the radio works, I know how this works. Really, if we want to succeed, it's going to have to be like this. And then because I toured so much during that period of time, 2008, 9, 10, 11, you know, I mean, as a band, we like stepped on. We hit a whole different dimension, and like, there was a sort of fluency and an acrobaticness at times that we could achieve that wouldn't have been possible without being out there doing the age-old thing, which does destroy relationships and destroys lives. It ends up with you and a whiskey bottle in a hotel room. It is the myth, but it's all true if you just keep going that way. But I thought, that's not what I want. Essentially, I don't want to end up with just this.
Yeah.
I want the other part of my life as well. And it was all out of balance. And so I kind of started to get a bit more time back and build time for being outside, for walking, doing the things I like, being in the outdoors, restoring myself. I started to rebuild, really, and start again. And perhaps, as you say, maybe I was liberated by the reduced amount of success, and no one was really caring what I did one year to the next. So then I began to become more adventurous, I guess. You know, and I think I've taken the poetry that I'm so obsessed with within my music. The lyric is obviously first, like Sinatra. I sort of think the music sits there for me to support the words. Sometimes I don't want to put many in, but I'm sort of returning now to a very lyric-driven kind of writing at the moment. But anyway, that's...
So we're around the same age.
Right.
And I'm wondering, I've had the sense recently of a lot of pals that I went to school with have died. And I'm kind of... I wonder sometimes, is it all just sensation after sensation, but ultimately kind of meaningless? Have you had the same type of things, or you must have?
I don't arrive at meaningless. I don't know why. I see life as a spring of energy just coming forth, and there's something. The best way I can maybe describe it would be the feeling you get when you go for a swim in the sea and something sort of happens to the atoms in your body. You're made of water, you're in water, you're of the element. Something wild happens that charges you, frees you from thoughts. I think the sort of morbid thoughts and the obvious fragility of my own body as it starts to sort of decay, which is what's starting to starting to happen. It's
a bit harsh.
No, I think that is what's going on. Reshape itself. It's definitely pressing on my imagination always. Like I'm brushes with mortality are like frequent, as you say. There are things happening in my life too. I feel like I'm on a mission singing for death as well as life. I mean, death's a great privilege. I saw my father die. I've seen my children born. They're amazing experiences. I mean, they're both of them incredible. Like, the parenthesis, you know, life, the start here and the end there. And it's all a cliche. There's nothing new to say about it. But anyway, yeah, it's changing. Obviously, every year goes by, it changes my outlook, and I feel that's why I'm ambitious to do this tour in the way that I want to do it. Well, it's not only that, it's the record I've made, which I feel these songs were born standing up, and they're capable of going shoulder to shoulder with the big songs. So I can do a big tour, like, and really put all this stuff across the new, the old, the big.
Yeah.
And everything, and it won't suffer for being next to... A new song won't suffer for being next to Sail Away or My Oh My or whatever it is.
Yeah. Why'd you bring your guitar?
I was told to, Tommy. Can you bring your guitar? I said, yeah. I was travelling with it anyway, so...
Are you going to do something with it?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what you want me to do.
Something from the new album, maybe.
Oh, well, that would be... Now you're talking. So... Yeah, this one's the first track on the new album. It's called After the Harvest. Few days like empty fields after the harvest. This ache where the heart is. Like a tree that's bare, neath a sky that's starless. Like something out of place. Feel all used up, feel tarnished, like smudged eyeliner, chipped nail varnish, like something scarcely visible garnished with a face. Think I might be done with this final strawness, this pick your heart backed up off the floorness, this less that's certainly not mournous, this bitter aftertaste, this run right down to the corners, this beat your fist on the donuts, this minus, this yawness. Well, in any case, I know that love is bigger than this dumb day to day. I see its shining figure fighting for scraps out in the melee. Tell me I got this turned around the wrong way. Tell me I got it mixed up in my head. Feels like I'm left here standing on the runway. A fleeting thought that barely registered. So imagine gazing up into the great dispassionate eyes that observe us, head slightly tilted to one side the way a bird does, staring quizzically at all our silly little lies, our absurd loves, our scratching at the surface, clowns throwing custard pies in the circus of our vanity. I know that love is bigger than this grim day to day. I see its shining figure fighting for scraps out in the melee. Maybe I should know better than to take it personally. When the hand that wrote the love letter decides to write you out the story, tell me I got this turned around the wrong way. Maybe I got it mixed up in my head. Feels like I'm left here standing on the runway. A fleeting thought that barely registers. And now the moment of truth's finally upon us. Take a look in my eyes, see how much I want this. As I stand here astonished, scraping off the filth and cutting away the stifling bodice underneath her brand new skin like a goddess. Words forming on my lips like a promise to myself. I know that love is bigger than this grim day today. I watch its shining figure fighting for scraps out in the melee.
Wow. How do you feel after singing that?
Feel good. I love that song. The song was a refreshing journey to somewhere I've never been, almost like Frank Ocean style sort of rap. It's
Yeah,
like,
totally. Yeah, there's a.
but the cadences of the words, it was just the whole of the writing of the whole of this album. The lyric writing has been such a pleasure to me. I don't know why it's come back so sort of vivaciously this time, but these long rhyming schemes and sort of soft cadences,
Yeah.
garnish, varnish.
But your voice is so, it kind of goes in here. You know, you kind of, as a listener, there's something, I don't know what it is, but that's where I feel the song.
Right.
And it's in, I never heard it before, but there's a familiarity in your chorus making or something that,
Yeah.
oh, this, yeah.
Well, the chorus is the release from the verse, which is this incessant sort of stream of ideas. Yeah, it took me a while to learn how to sing it. It's breathing and things like that.
Yeah.
Learning how to play and sing it. I've been practicing it a lot, so.
What's the name of the album?
Dear Life.
Dear Life. And where in Ireland can people see you for the first time?
It'll be the 3 Arena, and that's in April.
David, I've often thought about meeting you, and I'm an enormous fan. And thank you very, very much for coming on.
It's been a pleasure, Tommy.
Really fantastic. Wow.